Okay. All right. Good evening. My name is Jeanette Ortiz, Chair of the Anne Arundel County Police Accountability Board. I would like to call this meeting of the PAB to order. First on our agenda is the approval of the June 23rd meeting of the PAB. The audio recording of that meeting will serve as the minutes for the meeting. At that meeting, we heard from the 5 Anne Arundel County law enforcement agencies. They gave us their quarterly reports as required by state law. We heard from the Office of Police Accountability, amongst other things. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the June meeting of the board?
So moved.
There a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, minutes for the June meeting are approved. Now we'll move on to our public comment portion of the meeting. We will accept public comment. Just a few friendly reminders before we get started on that. Each speaker will have 3 minutes to provide public comment. A speaker representing an organization will have 5 minutes to provide public comment. I will have a timer to keep us on time. Once the buzzer sounds, please wrap up your comments. Any remaining time may not be allocated to another speaker. And we ask that comments remain civil and appropriate for the various audiences who may be watching the meeting. Also, the board cannot and will not discuss any specific cases. It's also not our practice to engage in back and forth with speakers. At this time, is there anyone providing public comment? There wasn't anyone who signed up in advance.
No advance sign up, and it does not appear there is anybody in the attendees.
Okay, thank you, Jen. Of course, if anyone shows up in the middle of the meeting, we will certainly provide them with the opportunity to give public comment later in the meeting. All right, so our first substantive agenda item is an update from Ms. Moya Panda, Executive Director of the Office of Police Accountability.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. The first item on my agenda is to welcome Brian Conrad to his first PAB meeting. So Brian, if you wanted to say hello and just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, thanks for the welcome. My name is Brian Conrad. I live in Pasadena. Been a county resident this time since about 2009. I grew up here, graduated, and then moved away, and the military stuck me out in lovely Fort Lewis, Washington. I was a military policeman, and I was also a Washington State Trooper, so I've got some exposure to law enforcement, and moved back home here in about 2010, I guess it was, and been here ever since. So glad to be here.
Thank you so much. Welcome aboard, Brian. You'll notice that we have a wonderful group here. They're going to welcome you with open arms and listen to all your ideas and for the annual report and whatever else. All right. Well, thank you again for introducing yourself. We have, you see that Ken is on the call today. He is the chair of the Administrative Charging Committee. He's going to present to you today on the stats for 2025. But I wanted to let you know that our 2 new members, Loretta Denby and Boyd Campbell, have started. They are amazing. They're former trial board members, and they've just been rocking and rolling. Just such a great addition to the Administrative Charging Committee. So I just wanted to shout them out to you all, since you all did appoint them to the Administrative Charging Committee. We do have 1 member whose term was up and is up in October. He's informed us that he is wanting to stay, so he will be reappointed. So we're still going to be fully staffed at 5 ACC members come October, once we get that position finalized with the reappointment process. In personnel news for the County Police Department, Captain Ashburn, as you know, runs the Office of Professional Standards. He has been promoted to major and will be leaving and going on into administration. Lieutenant Ott has been promoted to Captain Ott, and he'll be taking over for Major Ashburn in the Office of Professional Standards. So we'll still have continuity with the cases and presenting to you all at the next meeting. And those are the 3 updates that I have today. Anybody have any questions? All right. Thank you all so much.
Thanks, Moya, and welcome again, Brian. We are excited to have you on the board. Now we have a full 9-member board. So welcome, and any questions, you can always feel free to reach out to me or Moya or Jen. Moya and Jen keep us on task. They keep us straight. All right, as Moya mentioned, we have Ken Vinston, who is the chair of the Administrative Charging Committee. And just as a friendly reminder and a little bit of background, pursuant to state law, each county has a police accountability board, and each police accountability board is charged with overseeing the Administrative Charging Committee. So the Police Accountability Board hears from the agencies, the law enforcement agencies. We receive quarterly reports. We hear from community members and stakeholders. We're responsible for putting forth an annual report, which is then shared with members of the General Assembly. We also have chosen to share it with our Anne Arundel County delegation as well. But the Administrative Charging Committee, we definitely have important work to do. They're doing the hard work. And Jen she's my designee on the Administrative Charging Committee. So thank you so much, because that is a lot of work. They are meeting regularly, spending hours reviewing different cases, whether it's video, investigative files, etc. Jen and Moya are also staffing the ACC, so are very busy doing that. So we're really excited to have Ken here this evening to share with us, sort of what the ACC has been seeing over the last year. You may recall that last year we had Lisa Sneed speak to us and share the work of the ACC. So welcome, Ken. Thank you so much for being here this evening.
Thank you so much, Jeanette. Thank you for that intro, and thank you guys for having me tonight. Again, congratulations to Brian. I know that's exciting. So let me pull up the slides, and I'll just bear with me 1 second. Can you guys see my screen? Not yet. That's it. All right, good. Well, I don't know who's familiar. I know, Jeanette, you did an awesome job of just giving an intro into the ACC. So I'm going to take the first 5-10 minutes just to kind of do another quick dive into everything that we're talking about with the ACC. So again, my name is Kenneth Vinston Jr. I go by Ken. I'm a resident of District 2 in Severn, Maryland. So I've been on the ACC board, I think now, Jen Rogers can correct me, maybe about 1.5 years or so.
About a year and a half. That's right.
Yeah, and loved every minute of it. It's definitely brought a lot of insight into the county and what we're seeing as far as law enforcement agency, and also helped me personally and professionally as well too. So again, definitely appreciate Jen and Moya for all they do, and like you also said, Jennifer, my partner in crime, went to training together. So. All right, jumping into it. Let me see. All right, so summary of the Administrative Charging Committee makes disciplinary determinations related to civilian involved complaints against law enforcement employed with the county's 5 local law enforcement agencies. I think you guys are all aware of our local law enforcement agencies with the Anne Arundel County Police Department, the Sheriff's Office, the Community College, Crofton Police, and I think I named all 5. If I'm that's it, Sheriff's. I think I can add all 5 right there.
Annapolis.
And Annapolis, there you go. Thanks, Moya. Who we are, the composition of the ACC. We are a 5-member board, and like we said, we're fully staffed. We have just welcomed in Boyd and Loretta, who are awesome. We also have 1 member who is Jen Munt, who is from the PAB chair. We have 2 members again that are appointed from the PAB, and then we have 2 members who are appointed by the county council. So we are fully staffed, and we work excellent with everybody. I tell them all the time, if I could take them to my 9 to 5, I definitely would. All right, so the ACC, again, composition member training. Before every member starts, we do the week-long training up in Sykesville, where we work with the state police training and commissions office. So we get a lot of info as far as what we would see in this particular case, how we would work in cases, what we would do as an ACC, just kind of learning more about the mind of a police officer, and as well as how we would structure our ACC and work together with the members of the public as well, too. So the ACC operations, the ACC's determination process begins when a law enforcement agency, out of the file that I just named, transfer an investigative file to the committee members. Axon is one of our tools, one of our main tools that we use. This is what you'll see when you see most officers, that camera that is in the center of the chest, the BWC, the body worn camera. This is what's recorded. These files are uploaded for us. Each file that the investigator is using to complete the files investigation are uploaded into Exxon. We have everything from the summary, photos, videos of the body worn camera, anything that we need to be successful in making a determination of our cases is uploaded into there. With each investigative file, number one, like we said, and Jeanette did an awesome job. We, ACC members, are asked to review and access the cases independently and make a preliminary determination. This takes hours sometimes, depending on how many cases we have. Right, we can have maybe 2 or 3 cases a month, or going all the way up to 15 to 20 cases. Who knows? We've had some big ones, right? And in each case, it gets to be pretty lengthy. We can have, like I said, 5 files. 10 maybe is the minimum, and then we can go all the way up to, I think we had one big one last month. Was it 60 some files? So these get to be pretty lengthy. So we do a lot of prep time, a lot of review time when we read this. So we definitely put our time and effort in the ACC. The members, we convene and share preliminary determination, discuss with the cases. We usually meet, we definitely meet once a month. There are often times where we do have to meet twice, depending on the case loads. When we come in our meetings, just like you guys are doing, we follow the standard procedures, taking roll and different things of that nature. But then we also jump right into our filings, right? Everybody has spent a great number of time reviewing everything in our cases, and we work very well with going around and making a determination. And again, like I said, I kind of jumped the gun there. We make our final determinations in those calls. We do a motion on it, and we just kind of move forward with presenting it to the rest of the legal and team involved, and with getting those letters out there, doing the determinations written to those officers. Messed that up. Okay. Sorry. The written determination, the written determination is then transferred to the relevant parties, the LEA lead head, the accused officer, and the complainant by the Office of Public Accountability, Police Accountability, which this is you guys, you all aware of that. And then the ACC is a public body. We aren't. Why aren't these deliberations public? This is part of the statutory requirement, provision articles 3-305B and 305, 3-305B13. I have a hard time reading these numbers even when I'm in the meetings as well too. So I know Jen and more like he's doing the same thing.
You're fine. You're doing great. There's a lot of numbers.
What has the ACC done so far? Let's get to the good stuff, right? This year for 2025, the total cases presented to the ACC in 2025 are about 63 cases. The total officers involved are 74 officers, and the total charges considered are 112, right? The pending cases to be considered for September are 5, and then we have pending charges that are 9 right now. So we've been busy, as you can see. All right, as you can also see, we broke it down based upon every law enforcement agency. Where we have ACPD, as you can see, is the most, where we have the count of 31. We have officers involved, 45 officers, and we have 79 charges involved with that one. The Annapolis Police Department, again, we have 15 cases that we've seen thus far. We've had 21 officers involved, and we've had 30 charges involved with those. And then sheriffs, of course, we a little lighter. We've had a count of 4. We've had 7 officers involved, and we've had 11 charges. And then Crofton Police Department, we had 1 case, 1 officer, and 1 charge, and that was during our recent meeting, I believe last week, if I'm not mistaken. And we haven't seen anything from Anne Arundel County Community College. The ACC determination summary, as we can go around this way, starting with the charge. We have 37.4% charged. We have 36% unfounded. We've had 15.8% exonerated, and we have 10.8% department collisions. I believe we started getting a lot more apartment collisions towards the end of 2024. We've kind of seen kind of a steady pace with that, not too much this year. But again, when we talk about department collisions, these are department collisions with officers using the cruisers or different vehicles involved with a member of the public. The average turnaround for the ACC, like since the whole process of receiving everything after we have the files, investigating, is within the 21-day turnaround, which I think is pretty darn good for our group. Again, I think we're fully staffed, and as mentioned before, we're fully staffed now. So before we were down to 3 folks, so we were really cranking those out. So it's been really good to have Boyd and Loretta on there. The average case age of the submission to the ACC is still it's 203 days. I think we maybe dive into that a little bit more with further questions about the timing with the average case age and submission to the ACC. And that's pretty much what I have just discussed with you guys today from the ACC. And if there's any questions and feedback, I'll definitely be able to help answer. If not, I'm going to toss it to Jen, both Jens and Moya.
Thank you so much, Ken. That was incredibly helpful and very thorough. Thank you. Are there any board member questions? I have a few, but
I don't have any questions, but thank you, Ken, for communicating a thorough report. Sounds like you guys are working really hard and the data looks good and sounds and looks like a fair process. So congratulations. Thank you for your leadership.
Oh, thank you so much, Sean. Really appreciate it. Yes, definitely is.
any other questions or comments before I jump in?
One quick question for Ken.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Does the ACC complete any ride-alongs with the police or anything like that, like the PAB side of the house?
I believe we've been offered to do a few ride-alongs. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to do any in my schedule. I will have to learn to link to Jennifer Rogers to see if a few members actually took up on that offer and did the ride-alongs. Jennifer?
I don't think, and I think Jen Munt is the only one who's done it, and that's because of the requirement of the PAB. But certainly anybody in the public on the ACC are welcome to do those ride-alongs. All you have to do is contact the agency, and they all have forms on their websites for that. While I'm talking, if you don't mind me just adding really quickly, those departmental collisions that come to the Administrative Charging Committee, they don't really make the decision on whether or not to charge because there's been an accident, which is why we've separated that out on the numbers. What the ACC's really deciding is what the outcome of that is going to be as far as discipline. So we pulled that out so that it didn't skew the other numbers. And then I will also say that last month they heard a case with 24 charges against one officer. So that is included in those numbers. And we'll have to figure out how to not isolate it, but address it because it is also skewing some of those charges with Anne Arundel County. So.
Thank you for those clarifications, Jen. Really helpful. Any other questions or comments? All right, well, if you think of any when I'm done, please jump in. So a couple questions for me. I don't recall where our numbers were last year at this time, but maybe, I don't know if you can or Jen or Moya know, how are the numbers as far as like cases and charges? How are they compared to last year? Is it like pretty consistent? Are we finding an increase in cases?
I think we're gonna have to defer to Jen Rogers. I know she probably had a slide from Lisa from last
Yeah,
year.
give me a minute and I'll pull it up for you. Just give me a second here.
Yeah, take your time while you're looking at that. So you mentioned, the date, the amount of time it takes for you all to receive the case, the ACC to receive the case has been like an ongoing issue. And so I know that Moya and I talked to the agency leads, to try to figure out like, hey, like what can you all be doing to expedite things? I mean, because I believe there were some instances where it was like, maybe you had a week before the 365 day. And then for folks who may not remember or don't know, in accordance with law, charges need to be brought within a year and a day. And so if an agency is giving the ACC, minimal time to review the cases, it really puts them in a crunch, and I mean, it looks like they're doing an amazing job of turning things around at an average of 21 days. But right, if you have a case with 24 charges, like that's going to be very difficult. So we understand that, in the beginning it was so new. Folks were trying to figure out their internal processes, and back and forth, like what would be helpful for the ACC, etc. So my very long-winded background way of asking, like, are we seeing improvement with the agency? So no, because it went up. It
Yeah.
was
No.
177 last year, and now we're to 203 days. So
Well-
it's gone up.
Well, I think it's also worth noting, there have been a couple cases from the county that have had investigations that needed to happen outside of the agency
Understood.
prior to it being turned over to the ACC. So that was a holdup in at least 2 cases that I can think of off the top of my head.
Right.
And the other cases are coming from the sheriff's office, similar to last year. They just, I don't think, have the support
Mm.
to turn
Yeah.
those around in a timely fashion, no matter how much we remind and ask, but yeah, there are definitely 2 cases that have caught us up against that 30-day deadline for the year and a day, and it's just kind of been outside of their control.
Understood. Thank you for clarifying that. And I'm wondering, when we're going to talk about the annual report later, but if that's something that can kind of, an asterisk or something, because the
Yeah.
numbers just look like they're not improving.
Yeah.
And so, right, each agency they're not all equal. And as far as like staffing, etc. So obviously the larger law enforcement agencies have a lot more staff and support and resources to do their work. Also more cases, right?
That's right.
Is there anything, have any of the agencies stated or suggested anything that could be done, whether it's they could be doing, whether it's like resources, or anything we could be doing to help them, move things along?
Um,
No, go ahead, Kent.
no. I was passing it over to you, Jen. I was actually going to say, you.
Well, I would say from our standpoint, from the ACC standpoint and the office's standpoint, we've got a really good process, and they are in constant communication with me. So I'm not sure that from our standpoint, there's much more that we could do necessarily, aside from maybe we can help to advocate to get them additional resources.
Yeah,
And
what I
that's
was
something
thinking.
maybe we can send an email to the different agencies and just ask them prior to the annual report if they have any feedback that they would like us to consider, or you guys to consider.
Yeah, that's a great point. I know we've talked about in the past, at least a couple of meetings over the last 3 years, about, especially the smaller agencies, sheriff's office. I mean, they're kind of very unique, and because they're not technically an agency, they don't report to the county executive. They're like their own they report to the judiciary, but they have much less resources. So I know we've talked about the, potential for grants, and like the state has grant opportunities and things like that. I don't know if the county has any, but that might be something worth talking or looking into and talking to them about. But I'm glad to hear that we like the process, that
Mhm.
things are, for the most part running smoothly, and that we feel that, the agencies are doing, what they can on their end to ensure that they're getting the information.
Yeah, and I'll
Obviously, a
say,
thorough investigation is important, right?
and
So we don't
I
want to
need to
rush
add,
things.
like, our ACC members are rock stars at communicating with one another and making sure that they come
Yeah.
prepared to these meetings. I mean, they have a meeting coming up in September, and they're hearing 9 cases, and
Wow.
that's a massive amount of cases, but they're troopers and they're really good at what they do and really efficient. So I've been really impressed with everybody on that team.
That's excellent. Great to hear. Great job, Ken and team. We
Yes.
know it's a lot of work, and so
Yeah.
we're just really grateful that you all volunteered to do it.
No, thank you, Jeff.
I see Brian's hand up.
So on a positive note, the overall total cases, total officers involved, and total charges considered are definitely down year over
Yes.
year. So
Mhm.
they might be slower getting them to us, but hey, at least there's less of them.
That's a good thing. Thank you for pointing that out. Tom, I see your hand up.
Good evening. Thank you. I just want to say that Ken does, I get to sit on those meetings as well as a legal advisor. I'm not a voting member, but I do provide legal advice. And Ken's done a great job at being really efficient, and moving things along very quickly, but without sacrificing the quality of the work. And the members, all five of them, do a great job of coming very prepared and ready to discuss. Sometimes they have questions in advance. So kudos to Ken. Also, Jennifer Munt stepped in his absence for a recent meeting and did a great job keeping up that efficiency on her first time as the chair. The timeliness, I would say, is not really a theme as far as being up against the wall. We have seen it, and the committee gets frustrated when they're up against the wall. And I think, Jeanette, you've probably been included on some emails where
Yes.
we've expressed that frustration. So,
Yes.
Annapolis Police Department struggled for a period of time. They
did.
tended to be up against the wall a few times. So it's been better lately. Also, these numbers, you see them in volume there, but it really ebbs and flows. Some months are very busy and have a lot of cases. Other months may have one very complicated, very deep dive case. So it really changes from month to month. One of the changes in the past year has been the addition of motor vehicle collisions involving members of the public. And so that's a new high volume, kind of smaller time thing. Letters of recommendation, kind of smaller things. So that may skew some of these numbers as those start to get factored in. But I did just want to hold up Ken and Jennifer for doing a great job.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Tom, for that insight. And for those who may be watching and not aware, Tom is the attorney in the county attorney's office, and he staffs the PAB and the ACC, and obviously his legal expertise and guidance is very helpful to allow us, to ensure that we're doing our jobs in the best way possible and in accordance with state and local laws. All right. Any other questions or comments for Ken? All right, excellent. Thank you so much. Thank you again. Thank you for all of your hard work. It sounds like from the comments I'm seeing in the chat and what folks have mentioned is that you're running a really, great ACC committee, and the members are doing really great work. And once again, just thank you, because it's hard work. It is. It's really hard work, and it's long hours, and we just appreciate your commitment and dedication to doing it efficiently, but also thoroughly, with fairness, in mind. So
Absolutely.
thank you.
No, thank you. Thank you, Jeanette. Thank you, everybody that's on the board. We're here to serve our community. So if you ever need us, give us a phone call.
Great. Thank you so much.
You guys.
Have a good evening.
Bye-bye.
All right. This is good information. Okay. So next on the agenda, we have new business, and that's our annual report, which we've already mentioned. So as I mentioned earlier, in accordance with state law, we're required to put forth an annual report. I have to say, like, our report it's very thorough. It's really good. I've seen other reports, and I will just say that ours is very thorough. And so, we've put forth recommendations. We provide data, and we started incorporating more of the ACC. Obviously, that first year there wasn't a lot to report. So once the ACC was settled in and was hearing cases, we started including more information about the work of the ACC. Brian, not sure if you've had a chance to look at our report, but just a friendly reminder to everyone, you can access the last 3 reports on the PAB website. And so we just give some background information on our meetings and like what we discussed in all the meetings. And, we provide, I believe, information on the ACC, like when they meet and their members, and also like all the data in there, right, is coming from the work of the ACC ultimately. And then, our biggest task is to provide recommendations. You may recall that Moya provided an end of session update. And one of the recommendations that we've been making since day one was codified into law this year. And that's the providing for oh my gosh, I'm blanking. The 1 year and a day, allowing for more time. So what happens is you do have, thank you, Jen put a link in the chat for the reports if anyone wants to pull that up for later, but you have some cases that rise to the level of criminal activity, and Moya, feel free to jump in. And so in those instances, the agency wants to allow the criminal investigation to move forward so as not to impede with that investigation. As you may know, sometimes these investigations go longer than a year and a day. But then what happens? What happens if a criminal investigation goes past that year and a day? Ultimately, no charges are brought. But then from an administrative standpoint, you've lost the opportunity because this, kind of like the time has expired for there to be administrative consequences for the behavior or the actions of the officer. So there was a law that was passed this past session to allow for like an extension of that in those instances so that, kind of due process happens at the criminal level, and then the agency can kind of move forward with their administrative investigation once the criminal charges are dealt with. So that's a big deal because that's something that lots of other, PABs had questions about. And so that's a good thing. So I would just ask that folks please look at last year's report. You don't have to look at all of them for the recommendations because we had a lot of recommendations in year one. Most of them have not been adopted. So like, we're like, and we still recommend the same thing, right? There've been a couple of things because obviously with change in law or some adjustments that have been made that are no longer relevant, but please take a look at the recommendations. Share your thoughts as to like, hey, you still agree that we should continue to make those recommendations. And just based on, what we hear from the ACC, from the agencies, et cetera, are there other things that stood out to you? I know I have my notes somewhere where, I take notes through all the meetings and I'm like, oh, well, maybe this is something that could be addressed in law or just regulations or just something procedurally, administratively that an agency can take on, or perhaps the county. But just think about that. And so my goal, I think we will look at the report in November to basically like adopt it without all the data because we need to get all the data finalized as of like November 30th. And then we'll officially adopt it, incorporating all of that final data at the December meeting. So we still have a couple of months, but I like to get ahead of things. So I'll send an email reminder, but ideally before the September meeting, I'd love for folks to send their thoughts on the annual report and obviously anything else with the annual report, right? Like we're not wedded to the format, and I think the information in there is really solid, but certainly if you have recommendations on excluding or adding information, please share. And that way we can kind of, share the feedback with the members. If folks, and then we can kind of go from there so that at the November meeting, we'll be kind of ready with a draft, a solid draft that we can adopt and obviously edit as needed at that meeting. Sorry, that was a lot. I see Jen's hand up, and obviously if anyone has any questions, comments, or concerns.
Yeah, just really quick. I sent links to both the 2023 and 2024 annual reports. I didn't include the 2022 one because the ACC wasn't doing anything yet. And I've also included both the 2025 and 2024 ACC presentations so you guys can look at them.
Excellent, thank you. Can you email those to us too?
Oh yeah, no, they're in everybody's email box.
Oh, they're in our
for you
email
guys.
too.
They're already
She has
sent.
it in the links in the email. I should know better. Of course you do. Thank you so much. Yeah, take some time, look it over. I mean, it looks like a lot. I mean, it is a lot of information, but it's like an easy read. Jen does an amazing job with the graphics and like putting it all together and the layout and everything. So I think it's a solid read. Any questions or comments about the annual report? Okay. And if anything, if you think of anything after this meeting, again, feel free to email me, Moya and Jen, and we are happy to answer any questions. But like I said, just send me an email, even if it's, hey, we like it, it's good, no recommended changes. Just send an email just so I know that you've, had an opportunity to like look at it and think of it. And I think Jen at one point sent us reports from as many counties as had them. And like I said, ours is very solid. It's a good report. I get lots of good feedback from like our delegation members and members of the General Assembly. The work that I do for a living is government affairs. So I do legislative work in Annapolis. And so I've had folks mention like, oh my God, your report is so great. It's like really, really thorough. So, and the other thing I would just add, if there's anything, we talked about it last year, but just even though session seems like a long time away, January is not that long away. If there's anything that we feel that we would like to advocate on, like, I'd like to start thinking about that now because, there's that opportunity during session or just even meeting with legislators or whether it's in the county government now to share our thoughts. It's never too early to do that. All right. Any questions? Okay. All right. So that's all. So that's all I had for new business, unless anyone had anything else. Great. And then we'll move on to announcements. I'll just do the regular administrative announcement. Moya, Jen, jump in on anything you want to add. Please check your emails at least, once a week. Because I'm telling you, it's like that 5 days where like I don't check it on Thursday and Friday. And then on Monday, I'm like, oh my God, there were like 10 emails, So try to pick like a day, maybe like Monday and Friday, look at it. People always catch me on the weekend. It's like I didn't look at it on Thursday or Friday, and it's like I have 10 emails. But just take a look at it. And make sure you're keeping up with those. Jen does send us information. And sometimes we might be asking you for information or for feedback. And like I said, I'll definitely send a follow-up email with this information on the annual report. Any other administrative, and then our next meeting is Monday, September 22nd at 6:30 p.m. again via Zoom. Are there any other administrative reminders that I'm forgetting?
Just to remember to do your drive along or your ride along. That is due by the end of the year, and send me confirmation once it's done so I stop hounding you. And then in the coming months, we'll have to do the other online training for implicit bias.
Oh, right. Yeah. Great. Thank you for those reminders. I see Sean's hand up.
So is drive-alongs, we have to do it every year or every year we have to do it?
Ride-alongs are annual, and as much as
Got it.
possible, the law asks that you do it with different agencies. So if you've only ever gone with Anne Arundel County, reach out to the sheriff's office and see
We
if
did the sheriff's and Anne Arundel counties. What's next?
Annapolis.
Okay.
well, I think it has to be a county agency.
Oh,
So
county. So,
yeah.
So sheriff or
So Annapolis wouldn't technically
yeah,
count.
yeah.
Because we had somebody ask that question last year.
Jen, will you send contacts again?
Of
Or the
course, it would
listing?
be my
Okay,
pleasure.
great, thank you.
Thank you.
You could see a different district would
Oh,
be
can
one.
we
Oh, I
do
see
it?
that. Okay,
We've
thank
got
you.
northern, eastern, western, southern, and they're all very different and very distinct.
Yes, they're
Okay,
very
thank you,
different.
Tom. Thank you.
Someone, yeah, the districts. That's a good way to just get a different perspective on different parts of the county and like what they're dealing with. I have a very entertaining ride along. So I will not be picking that district. I was like, oh, it's gonna go by so slow. And I was like,
Do
no,
tell.
it did not. It did not. But it was good, and it was like great to see the officers handling, really tough situation. And I ended up having to go home a little early actually because of all that was going on. But I felt really good about the officers in the county and how they handle difficult situations. I see Cedric's hand.
Yeah, sorry for the delay. Tom, just a quick question. Is the Live Casino considered a district or no?
I think there is a substation there. So no, it is not a district. That would be inside of Western, excuse me, Western District, but they do have a substation that would include probably the mall and the casino.
Okay, because I did do a ride along in the Western District and they did not seem like they are the same, but all good, thanks.
Yeah, the form online lets you choose from Northern, Eastern, Southern, and Western. It doesn't go any further than that.
Yeah, Western is very busy, includes Severn, it includes Chapel, includes Crofton, includes Laurel. Laurel's very, very busy. And then Northern, we're on the northern border with Baltimore. So Brooklyn Park, Ferndale, Linthicum, parts of Glen Burnie. Eastern would include things like Pasadena and Arnold and parts of Glen Burnie. And then Southern is more the Annapolis all the way down to Deal.
South County, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tom. Thanks, Jen, put a link in the chat too for the different districts. All right, so let's get them done by January 1. All right, any other questions, comments? Okay, well, great to see everyone looking all relaxed. I want to see this relaxed in September. All right, so if there are no other questions or no other business, is there a motion to adjourn this meeting?
So moved.
Is there a second? Nobody wants to go? Cedric is the second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, everyone, take care. So good to see you. Have a good night. This meeting is adjourned.